Welcome back to the Big Leagues podcast. Uh, we got the NFL draft on Thursday. Just wanted to do a quick 2 round mock draft here. Subscribe and like this video if you're new. Starting off, a couple of trades I decided to make off the bat. We got the Vikings trading up to 5 with the Chargers, leapfrogging the Giants to potentially take a QB, and then Chargers pick up pick 11 as well as pick 23. And then I heard some reports with the Eagles looking to trade up. I think the Broncos also could be a potential trade down team. So, uh, Eagles move up 10 spots with the Broncos, and the Broncos pick up pick 53 from the Eagles. The Eagles also have pick 50. So, I think that kind of makes sense for them. So, we'll get started here. The Bears are on the clock. I think they take Caleb Williams. That's kind of a no brainer. Uh, I think the Commanders will take Jaden Daniels. I think Drake May to the Patriots. I think those are all pretty well covered. A lot of people think that the Cardinals could be a potential trade down team. Um, I don't see that happening, to be honest. I think they're just going to stay at 4 and take Marvin Harrison. Anytime you get a chance to draft a potential, like Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the top wide receiver prospect in a long time. So to have a chance to pick him, I think you don't pass that up and you just take him. And then Vikings desperately need a QB. That's why they make that trade up. I think they take McCarthy. And then Giants desperately need a wide receiver. I think they go Malik Neighbors, and that'll be a great pickup for them. Um, I got the Titans taking Joe Alt. They could use a tackle. Um, Falcons at 8 took a lot of offensive players recently. I think maybe they'd look to the D line this time around. I got them taking Dallas Turner. I've heard some rumors about them being a Penix team, but signing Kirk Cousins, I don't know if you can waste the 8th pick on Penix. I'm a huge Penix guy, but I just don't think that's a great allocation of resources. Bears at 9. This is interesting. They could go a lot of different ways. Like Roma Dunze, a lot of people think that's where he'll go. To me, I mean, you got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. I know Keenan Allen's getting a bit older, not much time left on his deal. I mean, like Roma Dunze would be really good value there at 9. Maybe you draft him as your future wide receiver to pair with Caleb Williams, but I don't know. There's lots of good players on the board at other positions that you could fill for right now. I think I'm going to give them Leitu Latu, honestly, the edge rusher from UCLA. I think he's got a lot of talent. Like reason why he's a bit lower on board is because of some injury history, but I don't know. I feel like you can't base on that too much. I think I'm gonna kind of ignore that and send him to the Bears at 9. Jets at 10. A lot of people like Brock Bowers to them, potentially a tackle. But I've heard that if one of the big three receivers are on the board at 10, I heard that's where the Jets are going to go. So I'll give them a Dunze. I mean, geez, pairing him with Garrett Wilson, it's going to be a lethal wide receiver duo for the next few years. So Chargers with 11. I think they really need a wide receiver. I think they can wait till 23. They got pick 23. They also could use a tackle, a corner. There's some good tackles, good corners here. I think I'm going to give them J.C. Latham. I've seen that on a lot of mock drafts. Uh, Lots of tackles kind of projected ahead of him here, but I think that move makes sense. Then the Eagles at 12. I think the reason they trade up, I think they like a corner, and that's why they're looking to move up. I think they're going to take Terry Arnold from Alabama. Raiders on the clock at 13. They got lots of needs. They could use a QB. They desperately need a tackle, a corner. Um, I think this is where we could see Penix. There's a lot of like initially he wasn't seeming to go in the first round, maybe more of a second round guy, but with the injury concerns, and then he had his pro day, ran a 4.5, like I think it was like a 38-inch vertical. I mean, I don't think the injuries are hurting him too bad there, and his stock has been rising the last few days. I think the Raiders take Penix, and I think that's a great pick, great value pick. I think he's going to be a star in the league personally. Saints. Saints could go a lot of directions. They could go tackle. They could go wide receiver too. I think I'm going to give them Fashanu. Just kind of shore up that offensive line. Trevor Penning was a bit of a disaster pick by them. Colts. I think Quinyon Mitchell makes a lot of sense for them. That's a pick I've seen in a lot of mocks. Um, him and Arnold seem to be the top two corners by consensus, and they could use a outside corner. I think that makes sense for them. Seahawks. I think Troy Fatanu from Washington makes a lot of sense for them. Seems like a versatile player. Can play tackle, can play guard. Seahawks have some offensive line issues, so I think he would be a good addition for them. Jaguars. Right off the bat, I'm looking either wide receiver or corner for them. Could go Brian Thomas Jr., could go Nate Wiggins. I think I'm going to give them Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, his athletic testing is off the charts. I think he could be a big play guy for them. I think he has a lot of potential. Bengals. For the Bengals, I think I'm going to go Marius Mims for them. They could use a tackle. I think he makes a lot of sense for them. We still got Brock Bowers on the board here. It's just the issue is tight end's not really a valued position. I think he could be a star, but not a lot of teams are in desperate need of a tight end per se. So I think the Rams, that could be a potential move for them, but they got Cooper Kupp, they got Puka Nacua. I think for them, they're probably going to look for on the defensive side of the ball. Aaron Donald just retired. I think they're going to replace him with Johnny Newton. Steelers on the clock. We got some needs. We could go center. A lot of people think maybe tackle or corner or wide receiver. I think, for me personally, I'm a Steelers fan. I think I don't really want us to go corner. I think we should, we got Joey Porter Jr., and he looks like he could be a CB1 for the future. And then we traded for Dante Jackson. Some question marks there, but I think we try him at CB2 and try some other things. I don't really. We could go Graham Barton or Jackson Powers Johnson here, but I'm gonna hold off on center. I'm gonna give us potentially a stud wide receiver and Adonai Mitchell. I'm really big on him. I think he could be a stud. I mean, I've watched him come up big in some big games, and big body, good speed. I think he has a lot of potential, and I think Steelers should try to get a star wide receiver there in round one. Dolphins on the clock. I think they should go O-line. Talise Fuaga still on the board. Makes a lot of sense. Broncos at 22. I was initially looking Bo Nix for them potentially. That's kind of why I trade them back, but Brock Bowers still on the board is interesting. I don't know could they try to take Bowers here and wait to see if they can get Nix at 53? I mean, Rams at 52 could go Nix. I think they need a QB. I do think they might go Nix here. And then the Chargers on the board. I was really hoping to go wide receiver, but maybe they don't go wide receiver. Maybe they go with a different type of pass catcher, and they add Brock Bowers at 23. I wasn't expecting me to draft him this low, but it's just kind of the way the board shook out. Teams with different needs took different guys. Cowboys have a lot of holes too, honestly, offensive line, D tackle, running back. I mean, I think they'll definitely go with an O lineman. I think Graham Barton makes sense for them. He couldn't play center, might be a tackle, could be even a guard, even. I don't know. I've been hearing a lot of different positions that he could play, so get a guy in on your O line that can play a variety of positions, I think makes sense for them. Packers. I think Cooper DeJean makes sense for them. I mean, play corner, can play safety. I think he would just be a good weapon for their defense. I think that makes sense for them. Buccaneers. I think they should take an edge. I'll give them Jared Verse. Fell down a lot lower than I usually would mock him to. That's crazy. Yeah, I could see him potentially if the Broncos don't trade back. I could see them taking him at 12, but I got him going 26 here, a bit low, but you never just the way the board shakes out sometimes. Cardinals back on the clock. They got Marvin Harrison earlier. We could go defense here. Um, I'll look to give them. I'll give them Byron Murphy to shore up that D line. I think he's got a lot of talent. Bills on the clock. We know they traded Diggs. We could be looking for a wide receiver. I think they would take Xavier Worthy here. Blazing speed. Add a weapon for Josh Allen. Desperately need a wide receiver, but they got other positions to fill too. I mean, the O line's kind of depleted. Cornerbacks is a need. D line's a need. I'm a little nervous for the Bills coming up this year. Lions. I think the Lions go either wide receiver or corner here. I'm going to give them Keon Coleman. I think he can be a big body wide receiver, play some jump balls in the end zone. I think he just kind of fits that Lions culture and gives them a potential big time number 2 wide receiver behind Amon Ra. Ravens. I I think I'll send Chop Robinson to the Ravens. They could use some edge. I mean, geez, I think the 49ers are laughing here at 31. They could use a corner. Nate Wiggins. I think that's a no-brainer for them. Chiefs. They could go a lot of different directions too. Um, Interesting. Could potentially go tackle. I mean, I think if some of the wide receivers like Worthy or any of them fell, I think that could have been a play. But I wouldn't really take any of these other wide receivers this high. I think go Kool Aid McKinstry. They lost L'Jarius Sneed, traded him away, so they could use a corner. And Kool Aid was a projected top 10 pick before the season. Uh, I think getting him at 32, if you can tap into that potential, I think that's a good pick. Panthers. I think Panthers go with TJ Tampa here. Pick up a corner. They could use a wide receiver too as well, but I think maybe that's a look for them at 39. Patriots, we're looking straight to wide receiver. I think I think Lad McConkey makes a lot of sense for them. He kind of fits into that white receiver role that they've had for so long with Edelman and Amendola and all them. I think that's a funny fit, so I'll do that. Cardinals at 35 here. Gave them a wide receiver, gave them a D tackle. I think Powers Johnson makes sense for them. He's could be a elite center. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good fit. Commanders, I think tackle would make sense here. Take the top guy and Tyler Guyton. Chargers at 37. What did we give them? They got Bowers and they got Latham. I'd potentially look at cornerback here, even wide receiver potentially, even still. Let's see here. Okay, versus corners. Yeah, I think a wide receiver here and corner with your next pick. I would go Leggett personally. Xavier Leggett could be a big body wide receiver for them. I think he could be a good fit. Titans, we gave them Joe Alt. Mm, could they be a wide receiver team? I mean, I guess they got Ridley, Hopkins, Burks. Maybe not. Giving them a tackle. Go on the edge. I think we'll give them Darius Robinson. Good pickup for them. Mentioned Panthers looking for a wide receiver. Troy Franklin. I think he's the probably the top guy left on the wide receiver board. Commanders back on the clock with another second round pick. I think I'm going to look to the defensive side of the ball this time. Give them Adisa Isaac, potential edge rusher. Packers. I think maybe this is where we might see the first linebacker go. Or actually, maybe. They could use O line help. I think I'll wait on that. I think I'll give them Edgar and Cooper. Give them a linebacker. I think that makes sense for them. Um, Titans, I could also see potentially going linebacker here. I think I'll give them Peyton Wilson. Back to back linebackers. Interesting. Falcons. Falcons, I could see going wide receiver in round two. I mean, they got Drake London, and I mean Kyle Pitts, more or less a wide receiver, but after that, nothing too crazy. So I think I'll give them Jalen Polk, good wide receiver from Washington. The Raiders back on the clock. I mentioned their holes. There's still some good tackles on the board, so they desperately need a tackle. Uh, I'll give them Kingsley Swamada from BYU. And then Saints at 45. I think I'll look to defense for them. And might go a little off the board here. Pick up a guy I like, guy from Washington, Braylon Trice. Had a great season, played big in some big games. I think he could be a potential stud. Colts back on the clock. I'm gonna give them. Let's go take the first safety here. Tyler Nubin. Giants, another pick here. They could go a lot of directions. This might be where we see the first running back, honestly. I mean, Jonathan Brooks has some injury concerns. Jalen Wright had a crazy combine. His stock went up. But I think I'm going to give them Trey Benson from Florida State. I mean, Saquon left, so I think they could use a running back. Jaguars gave them Brian Thomas. So I think they should go corner here for sure. Who do I want to give them? Yeah, I guess we'll go Max Melton for them. Then Bengals. They took a tackle. Let's go D tackle for them. I think that's a really good fit. Rook from Clemson. Eagles. We gave them a corner. Could use a safety. Could use a linebacker. I've heard they're looking at O tackle too. I think Jordan Morgan for them makes sense. Steelers. This is where we've been waiting for a center. No brainer for me. Zach Frazier was a national or a state champion in wrestling. I think that's something that I hold with high esteem. So I'll take him at 51 for the Steelers, and I'm happy about that. Rams 52. Let's go. Let's go Patrick Paul. O tackle. Broncos back on the clock. I mean, Broncos have so many holes. Let's give them. Let's give them Chris Roswell, edge from Alabama. Browns, first pick for the Browns. Trade for Judy, so might not need a wide receiver as bad as previously. I think let's just keep shoring up that D line. Give them Chris Jenkins from Michigan. I think that makes sense. Dolphins. Let's give them. What did we give them? A tackle. They lost Christian Wilkins, so I think maybe they could try to replace him. I mean, T'Vondre Sweat. I like that from Texas, big body. Put him at the D tackle. I think that's a good pick. Dallas. Gave them an O lineman. I think they desperately need a running back. I think this pick makes sense. Jonathan Brooks from Texas, staying in Texas, going to Dallas. I think he could be a good player for them. The Bucks back on the clock. I think, yeah, let's take a guard for them. Packers, I'll take a guard for them too. They could use one. And Texans, gave them a linebacker before. Let's go corner for them. Rakestraw Jr. from Missouri. Bills. I think they could be. I think they could look D-line here. Maybe. Nothing I'm too excited about. I think I'll give them Leonard Taylor from Miami. Not the highest guy, but I think I'm higher on him than some of those other D tackles. Lions. Let's go. Did we give them? They've got a wide receiver. I think they could use a corner. And I'm going to give them Kamari Lassiter from Georgia. Ravens. So there's still wide receivers. There's still some wide receivers on the board, I think. I think they could still use one even though they've been drafting them over and over again. I'm going to give them Jalen McMillan. And then the 49ers, I think we'll look maybe to O-line here. Maybe a tackle. Give them a tackle. And then Chiefs. Let's give them a weapon just with Rashee Rice's kind of concerns. I think I'll give them Ricky Pearsall. That concludes the draft.